Alrighty then. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Ligo One Half Enduro. So this is part 3. I wanted to do this video because it's the bane of my existence because it's funny, and we're gonna have some laughs with this because again, knocking on wood, I was proven correct once again. But hey, it's for the fun of things. So by the time you guys watch this, I recorded at the time of my birthday. I had fun. I was doing stuff. So I wanted to release a birthday and do a game and chill on my birthday. But, my wifey had a lot of plans to do certain things. So, hey, had to follow the old wife, the old lady on this. This is some case. But to be honest now, we went, we had to do stuff with family and stuff around. So, yeah. So, again, it was recorded on the Friday, September 29th. That's my birthday. I was enjoying that, and I said, you know what? I was trying to see if I could put it up, but I didn't have the time to do it. So anyway, let's get into this. Another reason why gaming is bad, or should I say, gaming is boring, because we don't have the right people to make us exciting anymore. Because again, I don't look towards YouTube to make me feel excited about video games. Because again, there's another video you'll see come up, whatever. We'll talk about this. Where I'm like, yeah, everybody always say, hey, go to your favorite YouTuber and find them. Again, Angry Joe, as I just explained in the first video, doesn't explore. He's a big YouTube player, a big YouTube reviewer, but he doesn't do a lot of Nintendo stuff. And I don't like him that much. As you can see, I've done videos joking about him and making him look like an idiot. That's not me. And I wouldn't say me come for your greatest, because I don't do reviews. I do discussion reviews. I just look at the videos, talk what I like about the game, and tell you where it is. They don't get the most views on this channel, and I get that, but it's an honest opinion. And also, it's honest me playing the game and you seeing what's going on. It's gonna be a little different now that I have, the gaming setup that I have now that I could do, whatever. But I'm not changing it too much. Because again, as you will see in another video I've done, I'm not gonna do editing and all that stuff because again, I don't get paid for this. I do this for fun, enjoyment. I do YouTube to get out some, to stuff, knowledge and everything, and stuff that I enjoy. That's what I do. So, with that said, let's talk about one of my favorite terms where I've proven wrong multiple times over and over again. But hey, if I'm talking about why gaming is boring or why gaming is not fun, I gotta talk about this topic because it basically push what gaming is now. It's a part of the pie, part of the problem. So let's talk about it.
Who wants to hear a really funny joke? Gaming journalism.
It's a joke.
I think a lot of people have slowly realized over the years, gaming journalism is in dire straits.
Sonic was never good.
For some strange reason, journalism, specifically about the gaming industry, seems to have people in it who know next to nothing about video games.
Yep.
Some act like they've never touched a video game in their life, even though that's, their job!
Exactly.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a tough game, old school tough, so you better bring your butt-stomping A-game, as this will test even the most seasoned platforming veterans.
Which begs the question, did these people really want to be game journalists in the first place? Or was this their only shot at getting in the journalism industry in general?
I think
it really seems like it would be the easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
Play video games, go to gaming conventions.
Betrayal! What? Betrayal! Betrayed me! This game sucks!
Write about them, talk about them. That is like a dream job.
Yeah.
So why is this so hard? Why do so many games journalists completely drop the ball when it comes to games journalism? There are a multitude of theories, speculations, and attempted explanations, but none of those are concrete. The fact of the matter is, games journalists cannot stop embarrassing themselves. So why don't I tell you all about my favorite moments of embarrassment from gaming journalists?
Oh yeah.
These are the most embarrassing moments in gaming journalism.
I'll say this. These are not the only one. There are more than ones. The one I'll bring up, of course, was the person who took over wholesale antenna for IGN, that who turned out to be a fraud. Oh, who saw that coming? Day one, when he said, I didn't buy the Nintendo Wii U because all my friends wasn't playing it. You should play a game because you want to enjoy. I don't give a damn what anybody else around me thinks about a game, unless it's broken and destroyed or microtransactions or stuff like that. But I mean, like I don't do this for popular character, for popularity. I don't need validation. But come to find out, he plagiarized reviews and stuff. Ooh, found out. Who could have thought? Who could have thought? And of course, he didn't help himself. There was a Philip, whatever his name is. I don't know. I don't care. All right. And of course, another infamous one was Frost. It was a year ago, and Frost started to push her bull crap. And come to find out, oh yes, that didn't last that long, did it, Frosty girl? Yeah, didn't.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we were all surprised that she putting her political and all that dumb bullcrap into gaming would make G4 TV worked again. No, it didn't. But anyway, just honorable mention. Let's talk about this.
Godand was a PS2 game released in 2006, published by Capcom and made by Clover Studios. Directed by Shinji Mikami of Resident Evil fame, Godand is an over-the-top action game. And by over-the-top, I mean...
over the top.
Yeah, this game is crazy. If you have not played this game before, I suggest after this video is over, go see how it means to play it. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. Every person that I've talked to that's played it loves it. Well, except for one person. Out of all IGN reviews, many of them have been dunked and memed on. There's the well-known Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire review where they said it had too much water, and it got memed to hell and back because it sounded so ridiculous. But there is one review they will never live down, and that would be the infamous Godand review. The reviewer gave the game a 3 out of 10, calling it awful. His main criticisms are, the game is boring, it's frustrating, and annoying. That sounds fair enough, at first, but when you really read through it, it becomes very obvious. He was just really bad at the game.
And I have done that. The same thing I'll point out with again, my mind is not there because there's so much stuff going on right now because of what today is and stuff. But remember that the 3DS game that Nintendo did with the old school with Abraham Lincoln and all that stuff like that. Remember, was it Polygon who did it? Who did it? Didn't know how to play the game. Then they redid the game again and give it a little bit higher score. But I'm not surprised by that. And that did not help the game, of course. That's funny enough. That's a rare game right now, and people ain't like I said, looking for it. That thing costs a lot of money. I forgot. Like I said, if I forgot the name of the game. Let me see if I can remember it. Remember it. Codename Steam. That's the game. I remember that one. Yeah, that's what the name of the game was. That they did that. Codename Steam. That's a rare game. I wonder how much that game costs now. Like, seriously. I mean, if I want to like buy the game or something. Okay, it's a rare game. Oh, it's super cheap now. Good grief. That sucks. But it is one of those good games that people would never, like I said, if we had pushed it and made Nintendo like it, we would have more of these characters, man. Because these characters was cool. Anyway, I digress.
He boils down the combat to just mashing buttons when Godand lets you do crazy stuff like this. He then complains he had barely any health going from stage to stage, and this made the game incredibly frustrating. When you put 2 and 2 together, you realize this man was most likely mashing buttons throughout the entire game, was getting his ass whooped, and blamed the game when he kept dying. And some of the info is just flat out contradictory. He claims the enemies were bland and generic, while in the very next paragraph talks about demons that will respawn from fallen enemies, which is something I don't think a lot of games do. That wouldn't really qualify as generic, would it? Oh, and by the way, did I mention that Godand has a boss fight like this in it?
Cargone Wild Joker! One hard gangster, Deadman! You can find me at the club! Have your pet neutered or spayed! Ow, 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 ow! I'm hurt! I mean hurt! Together we are the Magnetic Five!
Why are you not playing this game yet?
Yeah.
So yes, too long didn't read, he's bad at the game. He just didn't get it. 3 out of 10. After this review was made, it's probably one of the earliest examples of people taking the piss out of a professional game website.
Yep.
A lot of people were mocking this dude, and this made him lash out on the forums. Godand came and...
Was that the last time we saw that? No, we saw that with Tears of the Kingdom from Kotaku. We're there back and forth with shenanigans and bullcrap because, again, you told people how to steal my game, and then you whine and bitches that you didn't get an early copy. Are children running this thing?
Went, but this review did not. For years, this review became the butt of jokes. Anytime a bad game or a literal shovelware got a high score on IGN, it was compared to Godand. Imagine Party Babies is better than Godand. Even IGN is aware of all the crap this review got. They even made a whole video defending Godand and explaining how good it actually is a few years ago.
My name is Mitchell Saltzman, I work at IGN, and I'd like to say that Godand, a game that IGN dubbed awful 13 years ago, is in my opinion, not just good, it's actually...
Oh Lord. That's what they try to do.
When the website you work for is debunking your review over a decade later, that has got to be pretty embarrassing.
Yes, it is.
Kotaku has some of the worst articles on gaming.
As again, speaking of them, with the whole Tears of the Kingdom and Metroid Dread. There you go.
I've ever seen. They screw up this job more than any other website on this video.
Yep.
There are a slew of articles I could have used for this video.
Oh, yeah.
There's the PS5 review where the viewer says he can't enjoy the PS5 because of the state of the world around them. Well, I'm sorry.
What that got to do with anything? That's not your situation to be doing that. But whatever.
Sorry for you, buddy, but that's something for your therapist and not people wanting a review of a game console. But the one I'm going for is from their UK division.
Oh, this gem. Oh yeah, I remember this one.
Smash Bros. Ultimate got its first DLC character with Joker from Persona 5, but along with Joker came with a bunch of songs for the Persona series. One of the songs being from Persona 5 called Wake Up, Get Out There. Pretty catchy song with some nice lyrics.
Yeah.
One journalist at Kotaku UK did not think so highly of it. Shortly after the Joker DLC came out, a hit piece from Kotaku UK came out called Smash Bros. Ultimate's Persona 5 DLC contains a disability slur.
What the fuck?
At around 1 minute 57 seconds, the term retarded is used, followed by the assertion, I can say it. This is the clip in question they're talking about.
Ready to pick up the pieces. Let's go. Let's play retarded and say.
Now, I will give the writer this. It does sound like it at a passing listen, but when you really think about it, it doesn't make much sense being in the song.
Yeah, get started.
Why is your first response to write a hit piece on it? When you listen to the song, you can tell the person who's singing is very obviously from Japan, and Japanese was their first language, not English. So there's a lot of English in here, and she's still trying to sing in a language she's not native in. So why do you immediately go for the worst assumption possible instead of thinking maybe you misheard something? This article was a joke, and a ton of different places laughed at it.
The likelihood that they say retarded in this song is 0%. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. Let's play retarded? When has that ever been uttered in the history of humanity?
And realizing they could potentially be wrong, they started editing it to include disclaimers that it might not actually be the word. But then, Nintendo and Atlas came out and said, no, the song does not include that word.
Exactly.
So it made Kotaku and the writer look like complete fools, which they were. They eventually released a statement apologizing and throwing the writer under the bus, and then the writer threw them under the bus. They would later delete the article, and a month after everything blew over, the writer announced they were leaving Kotaku UK to focus on their own projects. While she didn't say the article was a factor for the departure or not,
of course we know
the
what
timing
reason.
is a bit too coincidental
Yes.
for it to not have been a factor.
Yep.
Mishearing a song lyric, having become the punching bag for a week, and having an article you wrote get deleted, and then leaving the company a month later, that's really embarrassing. They started editing it to include disclaimers that it might not
do this right
which
there.
they were. They eventually released a statement apologizing and throwing the writer under the bus, and then the writer threw them under the bus.
Hey y'all, yes, I remember here. Time to say what my boss has forbidden me to say on Twitter. We received an email from a disabled gamer who highlighted this word, apparently to be in a song. Okay, I get that. It's kind of whether you listen to one person, but okay, I get that. I listened and I could clearly hear what was suggested, so I asked my boss for his opinion. He ran with it. Instead, it was 100%. Told me to write it up. Okay. Let me add a little something to this. Ma'am, if you're going to do this, and your boss forced you to it, okay, I get you. But here's the thing, though. You could have listen to the song. You go to the actual source of the song and see how it goes. Because again, this game is taking the music from another game, Persona 5, and you could have gone and listen to the track and hear if she said that. But again, if you look at the thing, it doesn't make any sense. Like the other person said, it made no sense for this song that to be in the song. And again, gamer who is disabled, why would I care? They have songs out there that in songs that should not even be in songs on video games, but I don't care. But I get it that she's pointing out that she got thrown on the bus, but I think you could have done a little more due diligence yourself, my dear. Initially drafted was lots of appears to be statement. It was called a discussion and a far less certain piece. Okay, my boss took out all the seems to be statements and set it up. Okay, yeah, I get it. Live forward between me hearing back from my competent request. I wanted to wait. It was already after 6, thus pre-bank holiday. We wrote not getting a reply from the PR until at least Tuesday. He knows this. Yeah, I get you. Yes, I get your boss is an.
You piece of loser.
I still say you could have done a lot more due diligence before you carried up the ranks because you get an email from a disabled gamer. Just saying. Just pointing that out. On to the next one. Of course.
Probably the most infamous thing Polygon has ever done was the Doom 2016 gameplay video, where the guy playing it acts like he has never touched a video game in his life.
Not surprising with this. Look, I mean, the aiming was horrible. Bro, aim. What are you shooting at?
A blind chimpanzee probably has better aim than the guy playing right now. But everyone knows about this incident.
Yep.
I'm going to be talking about one that's largely forgotten about.
Oh, I ain't forgotten about it. I brought it up in my videos in the past.
Bayonetta 2 review. Bayonetta was always Devil May Cry, but with boobs.
Let's rock, baby.
True.
That's what the entire series has always been. Hideki Kamiya loves women and the way women look, and he got a character designer who is also a woman to design the character he wanted. So you got an action game with a sexy witch, because that's what Kamiya wanted, and that's what Kamiya got. When it comes to Polygon's review, they spend only a few paragraphs talking about the gameplay itself. It seems mostly positive, and says it does a lot of things better than the original.
That's what I read when I was reading it. I was like, okay, but hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right here.
But that doesn't matter, because 2/3 of it are complaining about the fact the game shows off Bayonetta's assets too much. The game was made by a guy who likes boobs in action. The game is made for guys who like boobs in action, and they have the right to enjoy those if they please.
And also females too, because my sister loves this game, okay? So women liked it too. Oddly enough, a female designed something that women would like as well too. Can you believe that?
And the entire review is basically trashing the audience this game is intended for.
There you go.
He calls it cheap and pandering. He even docks points from the final score because of it, even though he flat out said it did things better than the original. Like,
but also remember, they gave Grand Theft Auto 5 a 10 out of 10, even though he was talking about sexuality, and that game has way more sexuality suggestion and show you real nudity. I tell you, these the game journalists suck.
If you don't like games with cheap boob and ass shots, that's fine. But that begs the question, why the hell are you reviewing a game that was made purposely for that? Like, look at this box art. Look at it. What the hell were you expecting?
I wouldn't mind tasting it.
Oh man, I sure hope this movie called Saw certainly doesn't have any blood or violence in it. Arthur Gase was the reviewer of Bayo 2 here, and he looks like he just got off recording for some 2000s new metal band. A lot of people complained about this review back then, but it's since fallen into obscurity because, well, other things would take center stage in the years to come. People do bring it up time to time, and Arthur still doubles down whenever it's brought up. Having to constantly defend your nearly 10-year-old review from criticism, well, that's kind of defend your nearly 10.
Wait, I gotta see
having
something
to constantly defend whenever.
Yeah, that's me. I didn't say it was awful, but I appreciate the knee-jerk characterization. Sex positivity does not mean all things with sex are positive or viewed on uncritically. Whoops. I've got you understand this better than I do. Oh, Lord.
Brought up. Having to constantly defend your nearly 10-year-old review from criticism, well, that's kind of embarrassing. The PlayStation Vita was a great handheld system. It was sleek, powerful, had a nice screen, and had a lot of good games. The issue is, it was released into a sea of hot competition by a company that didn't seem to care about it. But it still has its fans.
Hands up.
And I'll say this right here, and this has better visual and everything than Starfield. I've watched a lot of people play Starfield just to see the angst, and I ain't go to people. I have people who had I didn't want just the people who had bad reviews or bad takes on Starfield. I went to people who were clear and oh, this is perfect and everything. I just saw what I did a video begin earlier where the guy talked about the whole, why we can't live in modern day and why gaming is boring. I started off this whole season I'm doing right now, this right here, and I'm like, this is better than that. So how the hell Bethesda get away with some of the crap they do? But anyway, I digress.
You know a girl named Nora? Sure, yeah. Where is she? In the hospital. Where in the hospital?
Yeah, they're clearing out the upper floors. She's somewhere in there.
And one of those fans worked at IGN. Colin Moriarty is a huge PlayStation fan. No, actually, he's a slobbering PlayStation fanboy.
No, son of a bitch!
And he, like most fanboys, had a sense of superiority to their competitors.
Yep.
And he was going to express this in a piece he wrote about the PS Vita before it's released. The PlayStation Vita is set to succeed. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a console you're a fan of to succeed, but this article is more than that. This entire article.
This was basically bending over and just taking it up the booty.
Is pure fanboyism at its finest.
Yep.
If he just wanted to gush about the Vita, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But of course, he had to compare it to the 3DS.
And
he said the Vita was superior to the 3DS. I mean, hardware-wise, sure, but not just in hardware, in every aspect. The library, the brand itself, and flat out said the Vita was destined to sell more than the 3DS.
You serious?
That didn't age well, did it?
And let me remind you, this is for a handheld that had not been released yet. He even flat out says the 3DS is of no concern to Sony. Nintendo isn't even competition to them. The real competition is smartphones. But he says that after he spent most of the article saying how the 3DS is lesser to it, calling the 3DS library Nintendo 64 games and worn out, tired game series. This is...
That is what we call blatant, just gushing and not looking at reality. Yes, the Vita, and I have one and it's trash right now because I dropped it. I dropped my Switch this morning again, like for a multiple time, and it still plays. I dropped my Vita from a desktop, not desktop, like a nightstand height once, and that thing is not working once. I'll drop my Switch without I have to take the screen off. I have the class screen on my Switch, and it's cracked and all this stuff. Take it off, put it back on. No problems. Why was the Vita made so fragile?
Is one of the most fanboyish, insecure console warring articles I have ever seen. But as we all know, the PS Vita wasn't set to succeed. In fact, it did pretty bad on the market, especially to the 3DS.
Well, two column per hour, just to give him a fair shot. PlayStation did not, back up what they're gonna say, and they did not back up the library. The console could have been awesome, but without the library, ain't gonna do jack squat, as we saw. Even though the Wii U people had problems with it and caught up, whatever, only sold 13 million or whatever. As I said before, and I say it again, it made money for Nintendo, even though it didn't so crazy like the Switches right now. It made money for Nintendo. One. And two, it still had a library that people wanted to play. That's the big thing. Nintendo supported the Wii U.
Which also struggled, but still managed to sell 75 million units, while the Vita only sold around 15 million. The market spoke, and the Vita wasn't going to beat the 3DS. Sorry, Colin, but as long as Pokemon exists, the Vita didn't stand a chance. Colin would later leave IGN a few years later to go on his own path, but having this stain of an article still up as a reminder of how much you worship the ground PlayStation walks is incredibly embarrassing.
Yep. Oh, goody.
Now, I contemplated putting this review in here because I actually feel really bad for the guy who wrote this. But it's still a funny story, so I decided to include it anyway.
Put it in there. I remember this one.
Alien Resurrection was a movie made in 1997 and was the fourth film in the Alien franchise. And honestly, it's a fun popcorn movie, nothing else. But being a late 90s blockbuster film, it of course got a game tie-in that was delayed for years and years until it finally came out in the year 2000. The game got middling scores all across the board and is mostly forgotten these days, seeing as it, well, came 3 years after the movie. Yeah. There was one review on it, though, that while back then wasn't much, today is pretty funny to look at. The GameSpot review, where the reviewer gave it a 4 out of 10, which sort of makes sense for the middling review score. But what is the reason for the 4 out of 10, you may ask? Well, The reviewer's main criticism was the controls. And what were the controls on this game like? Well, in the reviewer's own words, the game's control setup is its most terrifying element.
Yeah,
the left analog stick moves you forward, back, and strafes right and left, while the right analog stick turns you and can be used to look up and down. Too often, you'll turn to face a foe and find that your weapon is aimed at the floor or ceiling, while the alien gleefully hacks away at your midsection. Now, does that sound familiar to you? Well, it should, because that is the control scheme for every single console shooter used to this day.
Yep.
Yes, this game was one of the first games to use the dual analog setup everything uses now. It was a pioneer, and this reviewer hated the game for it.
And I'm not knocking the guy for hating the game for it, because I had a disdain against it too. And I still don't like it to this day. But I get why he's bringing this up, because it just aged, like Colin's video, it aged very badly.
It's funny to laugh at it now, but you have to remember, back in 2000, a controller with 2 analog sticks was still a new thing, and controlling the game with 2 analog sticks was something never really done. Even a few years into the PS2's life, you still had games using the L and R buttons to control the camera. It was too hard to shift away from what people were used to. So, this review was just kind of suffering from growing pains.
Yeah.
The way we control games were changing, and this reviewer could not adapt. It's not really his fault, but it kind of is. Trashing a game for its control scheme that would later become the industry standard is something he could have never predicted, but in the end, it's still embarrassing.
Yeah, he never could predict that. Now this one, hell yeah, this is crazy. This is where you find out how crazy the industry is tied up with each other.
Kane and Lynch.
Kane and Lynch Deadman was a game released in 2007, and it was set to be huge. A big, next-gen AAA game that was also a new IP. This game was hyped up quite a bit back in the day. Every place was talking about it and making a huge deal about it. And when the game finally came out, it got middling review scores across the board. It wasn't a game changer, but it was fine. That seemed to be the consensus. GameSpot was one of the websites hyping the game up to hell and back. You could not go anywhere on their site without seeing an advertisement for the game. They were telling you to buy it right there and right now.
Yep.
And when it came time to review the game, Jeff Gertzman on the staff was ready and able, and the score he gave it, 6 out of 10. So yeah, about what every other site was saying about it.
Yeah.
But this was a special case, because GameSpot was very obviously taking handouts from the game's publisher. And once they saw Jeff gave the game a fair and honest review, and not a 9 or 10 out of 10 masterpiece buy it now, they threatened to pull their money. This led to GameSpot putting a lot of pressure on Jeff, who stood his ground and refused to back off. This would lead to GameSpot pulling his review and firing him because he wasn't trustworthy enough.
In this regard, I was crazy. Now trust me, there's some stuff that Gertzman did I found highly suspicious too. He's not perfect in this, but in this one here, I agree with him. And again, he went out to create Giant Bomb, so who am I to say anything? Smart move. He know how to move around and do his thing.
Jeff would later go on to form his own game website, Giant Bomb, so he could keep being an honest game reviewer. But this
to a degree, let's be honest, but okay.
Incident is more substantial than you think. This man was fired because he was being honest. He wasn't trying to butter people up or be dishonest with the people who were listening. He flat out told everyone, the game is alright. And he was fired for that. This basically proved what many thought was happening in gaming journalism. It was very possible for the publishers of the company to butter the review websites up with some cold hard cash to sway review scores.
Yep.
This is exactly what happened. With all the advertising for the game, only to be given an average review score, the reviewer was then fired. That basically put huge doubt on any games journalism website. This can happen to any of them. And making everyone start to doubt games journalism in general is extremely embarrassing. This puts a nice bow on everything.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, it all comes down to money in the end.
Always has.
Money makes the world go round. Integrity and honesty be damned. Whatever makes me the most green is what matters most. That is what has been the main goal for a long time. In the gaming industry, in the games journalism industry, in any industry. And that probably will be the main goal for as far as the eye can see. Remember, kids, the only opinion you can truly trust is your own. And no one can take that away from you. God bless, like and subscribe, and good night.
Exactly. And let's not also forget about people who can't, game journalists who can't play video games as well, like I said, because you got to put in a Cuphead one. You just got it, because that was also bad. When the directions are right there in front of you, and you can't do it. That was a master fail. Bruh. Jump. And then dash. That's... That... Oh my goodness. That was horrible. And that's what game it is, what it has gotten to it. So that is that's a quarter, or at least quarter to a third of why gaming has gotten better. Companies have gotten greedier, developers have gotten lazier for money. If I had to do three, no, it's a quarter of the pie. Game journalists, gamers, game companies, publishers and stuff, and then game developers, all four. That's a full pie that was getting gaming to be more and more boring, more and more crazy, more and more broken, more just idiotic. That's what it is. So anyway, I thank you guys again for giving me your time and your ears for listening to this video, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Remember, there's no perfect game out there. What's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply enjoy a game on all consoles, including PC. Peace out.